Okay, let's talk about profiles and the end users, different kind of focus groups, and the people who are using your service as end users. So the main idea for the stakeholder mapping was that we have a wider view or perspective over the whole service, who are actually involved as a users, but also who are the stakeholders who want to affect or somehow get have an interest over the service, and that's why we have to have this vision first. But afterwards, when we have done this bigger picture, we quite soon understand that we have a certain selected persons who are actually end users, and that's why we need to understand what kind of people are using or what kind of um, stakeholder groups, whatever, are using the service, and we have to make sure that we have a common understanding what they are preferring, what is the motivation for the service, but also what are the internal drivers for selected groups. So that's why we have to make a profiling, and I just took some of those example persons from the earlier stakeholder map, and I just draw them here, and I made them somehow visible that there can be, for example, this old male user group, 77 to 99 years old. If you think about that, if there is there any people who are using digital services when they are almost 100 years old, it sounds abnormal, but let's think about that. The tool can be, or service can be, for example, some government's service which is actually containing information about this person, and there is a lot of people who are actually using the service as a representative for this person. They are taking care of him, or giving services which are, for example, healthcare, all kind of support services, and they somehow are connected and using the service anyway. But the person himself can be older and doesn't go inside the service such a way, but he's giving the trust to somebody who is taking care of him. So that makes it possible that there is plenty of user groups which are, in the first run, they are not using the service by themselves, but they are still involved with the service. And that's why this is just discussion and thinking, raising the ideas what you haven't been thinking. I think in some cases when we are dealing with, for example, games or things which are very simple to handle by the young people, and they really see all things correctly. There is no problem with the eyes or seeing, because of when you are getting older, there is plenty of accessibility problems on the services. So it's very common to go over this kind of groups because they are not interesting. But when you are dealing with developing software for the people who are not your age or somehow in your own life situation, so then it's much difficult to go inside and jump in the trousers of other person and look at with the glasses of that person and understand the perspective for the user in that situation. And that's why we have to learn or collect information from these kind of groups and make sure that we have enough understanding over this person. If we are taking, for example, two different groups which are not at all different, they are same age, they are working in the same kind of environment, office worker. Another one is having time at home too much, I think. And another person is doing a lot of activities outside and spending time in a different kind of environments in the nature and having some pets or things. This is just a nasty joke, but anyway, the idea that these persons are quite different and they can have totally different kind of values in life, what they try to do, and what are the things what they are putting in a high level. So these elements can also change the user interest over the service what you are working with, and it depends so much that somehow it's possible that you could draw a line that okay, we are focusing on this group of people only, and this is very simple for the common software developers, that let's take our kind of person as a target of the customer. But also when you are looking at the values, how many users there can be existing somewhere, it's possible that there is for example 1,000 users of this person group, and then when you are checking the next possible user group, you notice that there is actually 2,500 possible customers here, and it totally different group of people. If they are buying the service, they are actually very important group. And then you look at these old people and you notice that there is about 10,000 persons who are actually possible customers, because we are not just in this example, we are not spending time with what service we are doing, but it's amazing to notice that your focus group is actually not this group of people, it's actually totally different. So we should do our project or our delivery software delivery especially for this group of people. These are the persons who are actually giving the best interest for our development, because there can be this connection that actually there is plenty of old people, but there is some people who are actually working as representatives for these old people. If they, for example, it could be some kind of gym or healthcare service which is just giving some kind of support for the old person, and there is plenty of trainers who are using the service to guide, to show what kind of happening and giving the guidance using that service. So the trainers group is much smaller, but the user group is really big one, and that's why we have to really look at these things. Who are actually our customer? Who are giving the money? Who got this sack of gold, whatever? Or if it's institutional governmental service, of course there is no such elements, but anyway, that's why we spend little more time to profile this group in this discussion session. It's more like monologue, but you understand the reason. So if we go in a OPF point, looking the OPF documents, we will find there one document, profile template description. So this is actually the document which is describing one group of your focus groups or important customers or important user group, whatever. So you have to define this group, and this person here is actually representing 10,000 users, same kind of users group. So you understand that this person here is actually having a lot of information in his in figure. So it means that there is 10,000 different people, but they are in the same age group. They have same kind of values if possible, and they are the group which we can handle as a one profile description. And this is the place where you collect all information about this group, and then you can really understand better and share this knowledge, for example, for the development team and other interest groups, that we have a common understanding who is our customer. That's why we are writing out these descriptions, and you understand that there is plenty of these descriptions, as many as we have these user groups. So when we take copy of that, we just draw another description, or we make this description of this focus group, and like we have done this description of this one. Let's keep it simple. You understand, we have to describe our users. Some of them, not every 10,000. We have taking groups, and then we have this profile. The profile is instance of the whole big group of people, and then we can handle much better. When we are doing some kind of design process, we can focus on the selected group and think about how to look at the service in a one selected group point of view. Let's continue on that from, for example, in a mock-up and user interface design phase. But let's go on with this requirement specification. So this was why we need profiling, why we need that information. Thank you.